If you need to conduct a design research and don't know how to start, this video is for you. We will talk about research for product designers in today's video. And we will mainly focus on 4 points. Let's see why we need to investigate. We'll go over some methods of investigation. I will go more in depth, explaining to you how to use the easiest way for the interviews. And in the end, we will see what we can do with all the data we collected. In the process of creating a digital product, we have 5 main phases, which are idea, research, design, testing, and development. And as we talked before today, we will focus only on the research phase. Why conduct research? There are 4 main reasons to do so, but knowing our users and having empathy with them is most important. When we empathize with our users, we can better understand their needs and problems. Imagine we have a coffee shop in the city center, and we want to start a coffee delivery service. After doing the research, we realize that people do not need this service because they come to our coffee shop to drink coffee and talk with friends. After we finish the research, we can understand that maybe a coffee delivery service is not needed for our clients. But, if we realize that there are many offices near our coffee shop and the employees in these offices want to drink good coffee, they can't go down and buy a coffee cup because they need to work. For them, we can offer a coffee delivery service and give them a solution. Apart from users, we also want to know our stakeholders, understand their problems and needs. Our stakeholders can be managers, developers, or people from the marketing department. They can help us understand the company's financial goals, challenges in developing the product, and explain some marketing process points. In the end, we also want to investigate the market. We want to understand the market products to study from these products and know how we can compete with them. Today, we will focus on knowing the users and knowing their needs and problems because our users are the most important for the product. They will use the products, and in the end we design the product for them. There is an inspiring quote by Henry Ford that says, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses." And why do I mention it? Because we want to understand the user's problems, but we don't want to use all the solutions that the users offer us. As designers, we are responsible for finding solutions, and we need to give answers. This quote explains this very well because when Henry Ford says that if they had been asked for what they wanted, they would have said faster horses because what people wanted was to get from a point to another point as quickly as possible. And Henry Ford understood it and thought of a new brilliant solution, which was the car. And this is an excellent example of why I suggest you focus on the user's problems in the research phase. We have 2 types of data we can collect in research: qualitative data or quantitative data. Quantitative data, the big data, explain to us what happens. For example, if we have 2 buttons, one green and one gray, we see that X% of the users click on the green button and Y% of the users click on the gray button. And qualitative data help us to know why this happens. We can collect qualitative data from interviews or usability testing. I'm not saying that one better than the other. When we use both, we can get the whole picture of our product. Of course, not all the time we can use both and not always it is necessary. There are different types of research methods, and let's meet 4 of them. Interviews are the most famous method. And we usually do interviews with users or stakeholders. Second, polls. Polls are useful when we want to get information from many users without much effort. Sometimes, we use them to validate qualitative findings. Data analytics from analytical tools, such as Google Analytics or any analytic product, give us data about our product. Analytics is quantitative data, it is the big numbers, and it helps us understand what happens. And last, shadowing. How does it work? We go to a place, and we stick to a person or a process, and we turn into their shadow. We don't intervene. We take notes. And it helps us to understand the current situation of our users. Now, let's see how we can build an interview with our user. I will guide you on how to build the interview step by step. For our example, let's say that we want to build an application that helps people cook more at home. Before we run the interviews, we need to prepare some things. First, we need to set some goals, like knowing why people do not cook at home. Or what type of food people cook at home. Also, what is people's buying habits? Ideally, you can set between 3 to 5 goals. If we come with more than 5, it means that we are not focused enough. These goals will help us know whom we want to interview and build the interview script. Apart from that, we want to know whom we are interviewing, who are our target users. For our example, we will decide that we will interview people above 30 years old. And then, we need to find interviewees. I recommend you between 3 to 8. Typically, 5 people are the most common because they are enough to start to see shared pain points with this number of people. Do we interview remotely? If yes, I recommend sending the interviewee some guidelines before the interview, like being in a quiet place, using headphones, and being in a place with a good internet connection. Do we interview in our office? If yes, I recommend preparing some things before, like sending the interviewee accurate office directions, preparing a water glass in the room, and ensuring that the air conditions work well. Last, it would help if you build a script with some questions that guide you. Don't worry about this, because I will show you how to do it. There are some general rules that I recommend for you. The first and most critical thing is to talk less and listen more. I would say speak 15% of the time and listen to 85% of the time. Why is that? Because we want to hear the person, and we need them to explain their problems very well. The objective of the interview is to listen and not to talk. As humans, we like to talk a lot, but at this moment, we don't need to speak. We need to listen to what the users say and study from them. The users need to feel comfortable, so prepare the room before. Find a quiet place. Prepare a glass of water. Make sure that the room's temperature is suitable. Avoid asking guided close or vagueness questions. For example, if you ask what you bought today in the supermarket. This question is a guiding question because you don't know if he was in the supermarket today. It is better to ask, "Can you tell me what you bought the last time you were in the supermarket?" Here is an example of a close question. Do you buy milk each time you go to the supermarket? But here, the answer will be yes or no. This does not give us enough information, so it is better to ask, "Can you tell me about your buying habits?" Be natural in the interview. Think about it as a regular conversation between two people. It will give the interviewee a comfortable feeling. And of course, try to find the user pain point. Remember that the solutions will start there. The script has 4 parts, which are the introduction, breaking the ice and knowing the interviewee, going more in depth with the main questions, and the conclusion. Let's review each part. In the introduction, we want to give our interviewees a comfortable feeling because it will encourage them to share their knowledge and experience. We will start with introducing ourselves and the note-taker, which is a person who takes notes during the interview. Note-takers can be another designer, product manager, or even a developer. After this, we need to explain to the interviewees why we do the interview, how the interview will be, and make clear that we are not testing them or their knowledge. For example, "I'm going to ask you some questions, so we can understand your perspective. We really want your honest feedback, and there are no wrong or correct answers. You can feel free to speak in the session, your answers are important to us." If you are going to record the interview, remember to ask the users their permission. Before you continue to the next part of the interview, I recommend asking the users if they have further questions. In this part, we want to know more about the interviewees. And we can call this part breaking the ice. We can ask 3 to 5 questions, usually general questions that open the conversation and are an introduction to the main questions. We can ask questions like, "Can you tell me about your typical day? Can you tell me about your role in your company? What do you like doing in your free time?" Sometimes these questions can also help us to understand our users' needs. In the central part, we want to ask the main questions to collect essential information. I will say that asking 10 questions is enough, but I recommend you to prepare between 15 to 20 to have backup questions, especially with people who are hard to interview. It is better to ask the questions as a flow, so I recommend you to prepare what you want to ask at the beginning and what you want to ask at the end. Also, you can ask a big question and after that ask sub-questions. You can start with a question like, "Can you tell me about the last time you cooked at home?" And after that, you can continue with sub-questions like, "If you can remember, when it was. What did you cook? Do you remember why that dish?" It gives you the option to go deeper step by step. The questions have to be open, No closed questions. If you ask, "Are you like to eat vegetables?" This is a close question. It is better to ask, "Can you tell me what you like to eat?" The close question only gives us a yes or no answer, but no more information. Sometimes we want to ask a close question because we use it to guide the next bunch of questions. We can ask something like, "Do you use a recipe app?" If the user says yes, we can ask them, "Why do you like that application? What is the characteristic that you like the most?" If the user says no, we can ask something like, "Why don't you use a recipe app?" At the end of this part, you can ask a very open question like, imagine that you can ask for whatever you want. What would you ask to help you in the kitchen? With this open question, you can find exciting information that the user can share with you. In the last part, we want to thank the interviewee and explain what we will do with the data. Before finishing, ask the interviewee something like, "Do you have any questions or want to add something else before we finish?" At this point, we explain that we will finish soon and will give the last word to them. Doing this, you provide a comfortable feeling to the users. We prepared the interview, the objectives, prepared the script, found the people, did the interview, and already have data. But what do we do with this data? As I said before, we have 5 main phases when we build a product. And the data we collected in the research helps us make decisions in the design phase. When you ask people what they do with the data, most people will say something like, "I will use them when I sit in from my computer and design a new feature or new application." But I want to give another point of view. When we work as a team, we make decisions within the group. If you have data, the findings can convince them easily. You can say, "I talked with 5 users, and all of them said that they are too lazy to buy ingredients they don't have at home." So you can say that having a feature that offers a recipe based on what they have at home will be a valuable point for them. So now you will be talking with data, you know, because you asked for it. If we don't come with data, 2 things usually happen. 1, the decision will be taken by the person with the most power in the room, or 2, the person who shouts the most in the room. Let's see examples of ideas that can come to our mind when we have data. If we understood that our users don't cook at home because they have no time, we could come with the following ideas: show them quick recipes, show them how to cook one time for all the week, offer recipes with few ingredients, or build an automated shopping list in the application, so in one click, they can order a delivery to their home. If our users don't cook at home because they have no personal confidence in cooking, we can think to offer them solutions like simple recipes videos, primary cooking school. For example, show them how to cut a tomato, how to cut a cucumber, or how to boil an egg. Show them simple recipes, or make streaming classes with chefs. In conclusion, we first saw why it is necessary to investigate our users, stakeholders, and the market. We reviewed some research methods like polls, data analytics, shadowing, and focused on the user interview method. And finally, we saw what we do with the data collected: make decisions, convince the team, and find accurate solutions. Thank you for watching my video. I hope the information I share with you is valuable for you, and in a case you have any question, please leave a comment. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red button below. I will be happy to share more info with you.